Hi, good evening, and welcome to my live to talk about blood sugar. So a few of my friends have said today, I'm really surprised that your blood sugar's high. Well, here's the thing, I wasn't really that surprised. What happened, let's go back a few years when I used to completely abuse my body. And particularly when I moved to Malta and I started drinking lager. Much as my diet's always been really clean, my drinking habits haven't been. So living in the sun and out pretty much every night, I was drinking a lot of lager. And also at that point, I just went into the menopause. Now, most of you'll know that insulin is a hormone. And as you get older, your hormones can change. And particularly for women, when you go into the menopause, your hormonal balance can go away to hell and things can start to happen. For example, weight gain round the middle, loss of drive, loss of all kinds of drive. You just can't be bothered, fatigue, disturbed sleep. This is all hormonal imbalance. Sorry, I'll put this phone off. And so I kind of understood that happened. I read up a bit about it. I didn't really put much store in the menopause until it happened to me. And then I realised you can become highly inflamed. And my friend, Lydia, who I'm doing a podcast with next week, actually, she put me on a bioresonance machine and it kind of went red alert, red alert, red alert. And she said, well, I don't want to scare you, but you're in the pre-diabetic range. And yeah, I was basically a hotbed for all the things that being on fire inside predisposes you to. Type 2 diabetes, heart disease, stroke, all these lovely things. So at that point, I had been sailing for the weekend and I'd been drinking cider and lager, and it's embarrassing to say now, but that's what I'd been doing out in the sun, not really giving a damn, and not fully understanding, obviously, that as you get to a certain age, the behaviours that you got away with when you were 20 or 30, you cannot get away with when you're older. So I was aware that I was on the verge. Also, it was in the family. My aunt had it. Now, I fully know that I can manipulate my genetic expression. This is what I teach. I've got no fear of the fact that it's in the family that it will happen to me. But the reality is that some people are more sensitive to it than others. So I wanted just to make this video, just to make it really clear and simple. So what happened was I was... after Christmas, it's so interesting being back home, obviously, because people just eat so much crap here. And obviously my mum's not been well. We've had lots of visitors. Every single person that comes in brings a whole load of crap, sugar, cakes, sweeties. It was Christmas as well, so you can imagine stuff that I would never in a million years buy or eat. But suddenly when it was there in front of me, I found myself eating it, same as I did with Tracy's tablet last year. It's quite an interesting phenomena for me, because normally when I'm living on my own or living with friends in Malta, there's just none of that stuff around. I don't think about it. But suddenly when it's there, even tonight, there was a hot cross buns, which looked really nice. And I thought, who would have thought that I would actually be thinking about a hot cross bun? So that's a really good, interesting place for me to be, that when you're around all that stuff and when everyone else is doing it, the kind of tribal collective nature that we have is that we end up falling into these behaviours. Anyway, I digress. But the main thing is, for the last couple of months of last year, I ate more sugar than I've probably eaten in, 10 years. But I was drinking sugar, so remember that. And I've not been drinking alcohol hardly at all, a few glasses of wine, but most of the time, zero alcohol, so I can't blame that now. So we went, my daughter, Nikki, was on the ketogenic diet as usual in January. We went on this bit of a health kick, and she bought a blood glucose monitor. Now, years ago, I was presenting at the Truth Matters conference in London, and Dr. Brian Clements from the Hippocrates Institute was there, and he was absolutely incredible. And he put up the top 5 causes of disease. Now, this stuck in my mind because I had no idea this was the case. He said the number 1 cause for disease is unstable blood sugar. And I thought, I hadn't heard that before, but it stuck in my mind. Anyway, fast forward, then this happens to me. I get the bioresonance test, Lilia, you're on the verge. So I start to be aware and I make changes. And so over the last few years, I've managed it fine. Well, I think I have. I've not tested my blood sugar, so that's the reality. I didn't know, I didn't have any extreme symptoms. And then so we went into the keto, it was fine. My blood sugar was 4.8 and 6, which is completely fine. Then on Friday, I've been doing this Balance 2020 online, and I changed from keto to paleo. Now, this is what was really interesting. So on Friday night, we had, and one of the big differences with paleo is you can't eat fruit and veg. When you're on keto, you have to be very careful with your veg because of the carbohydrate. You need to get your macros, your fats, your proteins, and your carbs in a perfect order, or you'll not get the result, and you'll just make yourself feel rubbish. So anyway, I like my veggies, so I went on to paleo. And on Friday night, I had roast lamb with a ton of veggies, cauliflower and broccoli, and a whole tray of roasted veggies, parsnips, turnip, carrot, sweet potato and potato. And later on, we were doing our blood sugar, and my blood sugar was 8.2. I was like, what? So I was really shocked because obviously I hadn't eaten or drunk any actual sugar. But also I did a podcast with Donal O'Neill, who created 3 amazing documentaries. We're just waiting on the last one coming out. And he was saying that with the athletes that they had been testing, they were often, their blood sugar was spiking with what we would normally associate to be a healthy food, i.e. grains, porridge, beetroot. So the reality is that every single one of us, it might be a different food that's causing the blood sugar to spike. Now, I roast these veggies and they're sweet. I mean, they are delicious. You can tell by the taste of them that they're the carbohydrate, the glucose level's high. But I just hadn't realised quite how high. So then I went into fear. I was like, what? So always when you look in the on the internet for things, there's variations of what they say is pre-diabetes and what's diabetes, and even 8.2 is seen to be in the pre-diabetic range, but I do not want to be in the pre-diabetic range. I want to be in the optimum range. Now, I didn't really have any symptoms. The symptoms can be frequent urination, which is, I don't have that. I don't get up through the night to pee, and fatigue. It's winter, it's January in Scotland, you know, maybe a bit kind of lethargic in the mornings, but I just put that down to that. Excess eating, well, I do eat a lot. My family comment on it, so that could be a symptom of that. Blurry vision. So blurry vision, I have been complaining that my eyesight seems to have deteriorated, but I am 60 this year, and also it's dark and it's lack of light in Scotland. I'm not outside. I've hardly been doing any exercise. So I didn't really think about type 2 diabetes, which I don't actually have, it turns out. But my whole point is catching these things before they get too serious. So the next morning I took my fasting blood sugar and it was 6.2. I still wasn't happy with that. And I knew for a fact, all I need to do is not eat for a day and it'll go down. And my initial reaction was to do what I would always do, was just get the juicer out. But what I find when I'm in Scotland is that the juicing and the raw foods and the salads, if you're out and about and you're not in your own house, in one house all the time, it's a real challenge. So I thought, do you know what, I'll just go back on keto. So I had sausage and eggs for my breakfast on the morning. And actually, where's I get my phone? I started taking, my thumbs are all pricked to hell because I've been taking my blood sugar. Really interesting, because the cold water, your blood sugar goes way down, 1 to 1.2. Even when I've just gone in the canal and come back down, take it again, and it's just plummeted. So that's really interesting, something that I hadn't really known about. So what you should do with your, like anything, it's you don't take one measurement and then give yourself a diagnosis with that. What you do is you're actually meant to look at it over 3 months. But all I've been doing is since Friday, Saturday. So it went from it was 8.2 that night up to 6.6 in the morning. After the swim, it was down at 5.1. sausage and bacon, it went to 5.8, and then 6.2, and then 6.1. So that's within the normal range, but it's kind of high end of normal. I really would like it more about around 5. Then in breakfast in the next morning, 6.9, and then I had an omelette, and then I swung the kettlebell, and then I went into the canal, and I went right down to 5.9. Then this morning it was 5. That's back in the ketogenic diet with taking the carbohydrate out. So it was 5 this morning, and this afternoon at 1 o'clock it was 5.5. So that's it back in the normal range. But clearly I'm going to have to keep an eye on that. And so what I really wanted to explain was the options that you have if you are a type 2 diabetic, or if you're going into the pre-diabetic stage. What we know from Michael Mosley, who wrote Fast 800, from his book, which has taken and researched that over thousands and thousands of people, is that the less time you've had it, the faster you'll heal it. Which kind of makes complete sense. The less weight you have to lose, the quicker you can lose it. So the other thing is, if you have a drastic weight loss, you can come out of it really quickly, usually in a few weeks. But then, of course, it's the maintenance. So actually getting your blood sugar down isn't that big a deal. You can do it. You can just fast for 3 days and it'll come down. But if you've had it for a long time, again, you have to adjust what you eat. You have to learn what it is that's spiking your blood sugar, because it may be something in there that's healthy, but it's just not healthy for your body. So let's just talk about the gut. What is the gut doing? So you've got the 3 things to think about. One is the gut biome. What is happening in your gut? Think about it. There can be parasites, bacteria, fungus, and it can also be it can have holes in it. It can be permeated. So things can get out into the bloodstream that were never designed to get there. So that can leave you with all sorts of symptoms. And so it's really, really important that you balance your gut biome. And because I had so much shoddy dentist work when I was younger and had so many antibiotics, I've always had to balance my gut biome. And again, any processed drinks or foods are going to destabilize your gut biome. And then when you think of the actual hormone balance, so you have we can get insulin is a hormone, vitamin D is a hormone. We can get that outside. Fresh air really helps, light really helps. But when they start to become imbalanced for whatever reason, your age, your lifestyle, chronic disease, then we have to look at the internal organs, the liver. The liver plays a key part in balancing your blood sugar. So one of my choices obviously is to cleanse my liver, which I do regularly anyway. And I want to talk about the difference between the ketogenic diet and going to like a raw vegan diet to get the same result. But the other thing we need to talk about is enzymes, digestive enzymes. So there is a train of thought. Does it go with your blood type that some people have? You get a finite amount of enzymes to last you your whole life. I'm pretty sure that's not true. But let's just say you have the enzymes to break down meat, and somebody else has the enzymes to break down grains. And this goes with eat right for your type. Somebody else has the enzymes to break down plants, because sometimes raw plants on a very, very weak body, we can't digest them. So when you're sick, the foods that we call healthy may not be healthy for you. You may have to get yourself well and then start to experiment with the so-called healthy foods. And that's why often things that are cooked and softened and easy for the body to digest, or juice, for example, the body can just take what it needs and it doesn't have to utilize or call on a lot of energy to try and get you well. So these are the things that you need to look out for. So when you're cleansing all your internal organs, drink tons of herbal tea. That's a great way to do it. If you've got cancer, Essiac tea, people are having great success with that. Because you think about it, you're just putting all this water through the organs, some nice herbs, healing herbs, and you really assist the body to get stuff that's gone in the body that's not come back out. Get the liver. A fatty liver will not is going to knock you off balance in loads of different ways. So the liver is your filter. And it's like, you know, the hair in the bathtub when there's been a lot of baths and nobody's taken the drain. The liver can get clogged up and is not working properly. And that is, we need to make sure we're cleaning the drains, because these routes of elimination, your liver, your kidneys and your gallbladder, are essential. If they are not functioning properly, you cannot detox and get the stuff through the body. So that's really important. So I decided to stay in the ketogenic diet to get my blood sugar down. My other option would have been, this is the two options I would have chosen, it would have been to juice and to get loads and loads of live plant-based nutrition into me. And so there's the reason that I decided to stay in the ketogenic is that I just find it easier to do. There are so many different ways that you can heal yourself. And I'm going to do the raw as well, and I'm going to experiment with the blood sugar, and I'm going to post and let you know about it. But here's the one thing I do know: no diet works if you cannot comply with it. You have to find a way that you can manage. And with the ketogenic, so let's look, and I want to talk to you about that because it's very controversial. A lot of people saying it's rubbish and it's very bad for you, but here's the deal: a lot of people are getting well and getting slim on it. And you have to just look at all the different options. I'm not trying to sell you a diet here because I try all of them. Most people are saying, do it my way, do it buy my book, my videos, my course, etc. All of this stuff you can get on the internet. But with the ketogenic diet, it is very important to get your macros, your proteins, your fats, and your carbohydrates in the right percentages. And to do it right, if you are very insulin resistant, you really need to measure, and you need to have the wee ketone sticks. You need to check your blood sugar to see what foods are working with you. So let me give you an example. If you're at 40% fat and 20% protein, what's that, 60, and 40% carbohydrate, and you're getting no result. If you're insulin resistant and your carbohydrate bite point is 24 and you're eating 26% carbohydrate, you will not get the result. And as soon as you get down to the bite point, the fall off the cliff point, you will get the result, and the weight will fall off you and your blood sugars will rebalance. So this is really, really fascinating and exciting news for people that have struggled with their weight all their lives and been told it's not your metabolism. Well, it might be. If you're not, if you've got metabolic disease where you really have to have your percentages so bang on, and they've been having great success with children with epilepsy on the ketogenic diet. But here's how precise it is. If the child cheats with one sweetie, they will fit. So you have to get the percentages exactly. Now, not for everyone. It doesn't need to be that precise. Like my daughter's doing it. She's 20 years younger than me, obviously. She can have a higher carbohydrate percentage than me. I don't know what mine is, but I will be able to now. I know definitely that these root vegetables, the vegetables that go up below the ground, have got more starch in them, so they are spiking my blood sugar. So if you choose to do the ketogenic diet, you really need to measure everything so that you know, because it works once you understand that you get down your carbohydrate down, and the protein as well is really important, the protein and the fat, because some people can turn protein into glucose as well. We now understand, which I certainly didn't know before. So high fat, lower protein, and then lower carbohydrate. And then the other interesting thing is that you can start to increase your carbohydrate, but you have to over a 2 to 3 year period. So maybe if you were 50% carbohydrate pre-menopause, or if you're a man in your younger days, and you're like, oh, now I need to cut the carbohydrate right down to get everything working properly again. But I can slowly, over a period of time, introduce more carbs, and I can enjoy a fully balanced, healthy diet. So I always say to people, there's two diets. There's the healing diet, and then there's the maintenance diet. Now, I'm like anyone else. I let things go, and then I have to rein it back in. In my life, I have healed depression, chronic fatigue, arthritis, osteoarthritis. I got postmenopausal arthritis, and now I'm the pre-diabetic thing, because we have that power, but it's all about our lifestyle. And the other thing that's really good for type 2 diabetics to keep you out of it is aerobic exercise. So getting out on your bike or going for a power walk or a run for 20 minutes a day. Now, obviously, the age that I'm at, looking after my mum, and also a lot of my friends in a similar position, we have Alzheimer's and dementia. With type 2 diabetes, you're 4 times more likely to be demented when you're older. That is horrifying, let me tell you. And our system right now is creaking at the seams. So we really have to take ownership of this. We have to make sure that we stay well, because I don't know if there's going to be anybody to look after us if we don't. And by the time they put the retirement age up to 70, I mean, come on, it's just chaos out there. Trust me, I'm in the system right now. It is bonkers. So type 2 diabetes, although it doesn't seem critical, it's not an acute disease. Obviously, things like your eyesight can go, amputations, these kind of things. So really check out your blood sugar, particularly if you're over 45. That's when you become more vulnerable towards it. And if you have found, as you do, that your diet, things have crept into your diet, write down everything, because that's one good thing that doing the blood sugar for me is that I'm writing down everything that I'm eating, putting into my mouth, and then working out what the blood sugar is. My wee thumbs are all pricked. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to really curb my diet for the next couple of years and be very careful and monitor my carb intake. The other thing that's interesting, though, and I'm going to experiment with this, is I use a thing called MCT oil, which is triple coconut oil fats. It's just really high in triglycerides and omega-3. So you can put it into soups and stews and make it really fatty. So that's what I did. I had mince and cabbage and leeks and what's the other thing? Courgette. And I made a kind of American bean pie for old people. And I put butter in the top, and I put a load of MCT oil in it. And I'd read somewhere, I've actually been trying to find it, that if you, as long as you put that fat in it, you can probably get away with eating some carbohydrate as long as you've got so much fat to counteract it. So I will keep you posted on that, because the one thing I know, having been a nutritionist for over a decade, changing your diet for a lot of people is one of the most stressful, awful, horrible things. It can make you really unhappy. So we need to find a way to make it doable. And I was watching a video just there about people that are healing on plant-based, dense, high life, high energy diets, and how their families have joined in to give them moral support. And that's one thing that I would recommend that you do in your house. If you've got somebody that's trying to eat themselves better, help them, support them. And even if you are eating stuff that you shouldn't be eating, don't do it in front of them, and don't make it as easy as possible, because we completely are in this together. And trust me, since I've come back here, I've realized, you know, you can let your habits slip. Your tribe, as we say, can be helping you to get well, or it can be helping you to get sick. So that's why we all have to do this. The Heal Scotland message is that we can do simple things to help ourselves. And if you have not watched Supercharged, the movie, yet, all the ways to get energy that have got nothing to do with food, because that's one thing when I'm living in Malta. I get my energy from the sun. I know that. I sun gaze. I'm in the sea every day. I'm on my bare feet 90% of the time. And I'll only eat a couple of meals a day. Nikki was the same when she lived there. She just dropped excess weight. And, you know, it's we don't have that luxury here in Argyll and in Scotland. But what we do have is spectacular outdoors. So I'll put the link to that movie. Learn all the ways that you can tap in, and because we're like a battery. That's quite literally what we're like. We're not these chemical biological beings. We're actually electromagnetic in nature. And this is not hippie stuff. This is quantum physics. And you can recharge your battery in lots of different ways, and getting outside. That's the big message. Get back to nature. Touch the soil, touch the rock, touch the grass, touch the sand. Get in the sea, get in the waterfalls, get in the river, get in the canal. There is where you will tap into free energy. And it doesn't matter what your postcode is. It doesn't matter how educated you are. It doesn't matter how much money you've got. It doesn't matter who you know. That is there for all of us. It levels every single one of us in this playing field. Anyway, enough from me. I will be vlogging and blogging my blood sugar story. I'm determined. I know that the calcium buildup that happens in the arteries. Another tip that I got was if you've got a lot of plaque building up in your teeth, it's the chances are it's happening in your arteries too, and we can reverse that. So excited about Donald's new documentary to hear all about the guy who did reverse the furred up arteries. So thanks for watching. Get yourselves involved. Like the Heal Scotland page. Download the app. Every single day you'll be getting information for you and your family. Tips for anxiety and depression and whatever it is that you need, it'll be coming into your phone. I'm going to make it as easy as possible, and we all need to move and get this movement moving. Anyway, good night. I hope you had a good Monday, and I'll chat to you soon. Ciao.